Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 530 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Russ Riesinger.
And I'm Janelle Slade. Drug, surveillance video, and murder. Testimony begins in the trial of a Billings man accused of killing Laura Johnson.
Gregory Greene was arrested last April in Nevada and brought back to Montana to face charges. The 47-year-old Johnson went missing in September of 2018 and police have yet to recover her body.
Now, the prosecution and defense set the stage today, revealing the themes each side will present.
Now, the state banking on bloodstains and video that shows the every move of Gregory Greene. Well, the defense paints a picture of a heroin-addicted woman who had a history of leaving.
Q2's Andrea Lutz reports.
A jury is now selected and a week's worth of trial is set forth. Opening arguments really set the tone in this case, but how will this trial pan out without evidence of Laura Johnson's body? Both sides say they have a solid case.
Gregory Greene sat in court in a collared shirt and glasses, at one point even smiling at our camera. All of this while Yellowstone County Prosecutor Scott Twido outlines to the jury why Greene is guilty of murder. His team plans to place together puzzle pieces with the use of 24-hour surveillance video that had a direct shot at Greene's home he shared with Johnson.
The evidence in this case will show you that the defendant took great lengths to cover up his murder of his girlfriend, Laura.
The state is building its case with the video, calling it their silent witness.
But he can't escape the silent witness. He can't escape that video surveillance.
The state also says Greene's truck had Johnson's blood in it. Her phone was tracked with him. And then he fled town. But Greene's defense team will lean on Johnson's heroin addiction history, saying she had a rocky relationship with Greene and fled.
There will be no witness who will testify to knowing what happened. To knowing what happened to Laura Johnson, nobody knows. Nobody's going to testify that they saw Greg Greene killing Laura Johnson.
The court heard from Billings Police Sergeant Clyde Reed and Johnson's youngest son of 5, Jonathan, who indicated he tried to ask Greene about his mom's whereabouts.
I asked him where my mom was, and he had told me that she had got a letter in the mail, and that he came home and her and all her stuff were gone, and that he had texted her twice and didn't get a response.
He says even though she had a drug problem, it's unlike his mom to just stop talking to her family.
Another interesting part of testimony is a ping on Laura Johnson's phone traced all the way back to Washington State, but 2 weeks after her disappearance. It's something that is sure to be a constant theme in this trial and something that each side will try to use to sway jurors. In Billings, Andrea Lutz, MTN News.
All right, thank you, Andrea.
And Andrea tells us the state plans to call its witnesses all week.
Well, a push to move a non-discrimination ordinance forward stopped before it even started.
Last night, City Council voted 7-4 to not discuss the idea during its August meeting. Councilwoman Penny Ronning, who introduced the latest effort, tells Q2 this is only the beginning in the fight to get the NDO passed.
Q2's Mitch Legge was at last night's meeting and followed up today. Mitch?
Well, Russ and Jeanelle, it was a standing room only crowd last night at the Billings City Council chambers. The council heard 2 hours of public comment before further discussion on the NDO was eventually struck down. People in the crowd remained civil while giving their comments. Mayor Bill Cole was a no vote last night. In his opinion, the ordinance would come up against people's constitutional right to religious freedom by legally obligating businesses to work with others that they disagree with morally. As the city formulates an ask for an upcoming public safety mill levy, Cole said he did not have the bandwidth to take on the mill levy and the NDO at the same time. Councilwoman Penny Ronning said big decisions like public safety and the NDO are exactly the issues that elected leaders have to tackle.
An NDO takes away from public safety? Come on. What did you sign up for? You have to have the bandwidth and the energy to have systemic conversations as well as how do we address physically the systemic problems that are in our community. Is this the end? Nope, it's just the beginning. I will absolutely be bringing this forward again. This conversation doesn't end. It's just the beginning.
And Mayor Cole also thought that the NDO came up against people's constitutional right to religious freedom. He referenced several Supreme Court cases scheduled to be heard. Cole said the court's decision on those cases may answer the question of legality of non-discrimination ordinances in American cities. Jeanelle?
All right, thanks so much, Mitch. Well, Billings School District 2 is now prepping to put an elementary mill levy on the ballot. That levy would help, but not entirely fill a $3.4 million shortfall in the elementary school budget. At the school board meeting last night, Superintendent Greg Upham said the district will ask for $1.6 million from taxpayers. The levy would not fix the budget entirely. The district has proposed cutting 40 full-time positions across the elementary schools. The levy will be up for vote on the May 5th election ballot. Absentee voters will have their ballots mailed out on April 17th. Now, Billings has a hit or miss history of approving school levies. Last year, Billings voters approved a high school mill levy for the first time in 12 years.
Montana science teacher with the chance to become the first National Teacher of the Year from our state in more than half a century. Baker High's Linda Ross, the 2020 Montana Teacher of the Year, answered questions from a panel of judges in Washington, D.C. today. She's one of 4 finalists. Ross spent part of the week on Capitol Hill with Montana U.S. Senators Steve Daines and John Tester discussing the importance of STEM education in the classroom. The last time that a Montana teacher won National Teacher of the Year was way back in 1956.
Well, MSU Billings has proudly earned its red, white, and blue stripes. The school is now named a bronze-rated military-friendly school by militaryfriendly.com. More than 1,000 institutions took part in the recent survey. MSUB offers a variety of services to support student veterans. Those include peer mentoring, benefit assistance, and instructional programs. MSUB ranks higher than several other schools across the state.
Well, the tragic story of one of the missing murdered Indigenous women we followed closely here at Q2 was shared on national TV today.
We lost a lot of evidence.
A mother forced to solve her own daughter's murder. All New Oz.
The family of Hannah Harris appeared on the Dr. Oz show this afternoon. If you recall, Hannah went missing after a 4th of July celebration in Lame Deer in 2013. Her body was found 4 days later after the family says it struggled to get assistance from local law enforcement.
Today's episode focused on fighting for justice and convicting Hannah's 2 killers. Hannah's grandmother, sister, and mother flew to New York earlier this month for that taping.
How are you guys holding it together?
Pretty much as a family. We live on carrying her name. We also try to help other people by getting this out and making that awareness. So we try to really group together as a family and as a community and stuff like that to try to strive to do better and make a good cause out of something so tragic.
And since her sister's passing, Rose has become a leader in the MMIW crisis, going out on searches to find other missing girls in her community.
Well, the MTV reporter who you just saw there was with the Harris family. Also traveled to Lame Deer to learn more about Hannah's story, and his report will air tomorrow night. That'll be at 7 on MTV.
Well, there's more news from across our state on tonight's MTN 9 o'clock news. The Montana National Guard gears up for the largest exercise of U.S.-based military forces in Europe in the last 2 decades. We will take you to training day. Join Russ for that and more on the MTN statewide news on the CW.
But first, still to come, in sports, Q2's Athlete of the Week is only a sophomore, but still one of Montana's top players. We're going to meet this Melstone sharpshooter.
Plus, one Montana dog goes missing after his family survives a scary car crash. We'll check out the tale with a happy ending.
And coming up in weather, some folks got dumped on with heavy snow last night. Other folks did not. We'll tell you who got what and when we can see some more snow. Coming up in a few more minutes.
You're watching MTN News with Janelle Slade and Russ Riesinger. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Greene. This is the 5:30 news on Q2, Montana's news leader.